What is it about the Olympics that turns so many of us into sports fanatics? As we learn in our next story, they can be a place where all participants, athletes and fans alike, are invited to be themselves. The Advocate's Derrick Shore caught up with two lifetime Olympic fans who say there's much more than the opening and closing ceremonies that attracts fans like them to the Games.
We all remember those iconic moments from the Olympic Games. Tonya Harding with her hideous outfits and that guilty look on her face, Greg Louganis hitting his head on the diving board, and Michael Phelps setting a world record by winning 8 gold medals in a single Olympics. Even if you're not typically a sports fan, you may have found yourself glued to the Olympic Games over the years. For some, the Games have become a way of life. Meet Tyler Duckworth and Charlie Walters. Even though Charlie and Tyler work in different career fields and live on opposite coasts, they've got one major thing in common. They are obsessed with the Olympics.
We do have a problem. It's our craft. I'd rather be addicted to this than some sort of substance.
I think it's a healthy addiction.
Charlie lives in LA and runs his own PR company, CW3 Public Relations. Tyler works in sports medicine and lives in Boston. And for you real-world fans, yes, it's the Tyler from Key West.
We're both Olympaholics, and that's just what we bonded over, I think, when we first met. Within the first 5 minutes of talking to each other.
Instantly, they knew they were destined to be friends.
He's wearing this Olympic shirt at a gay sports bar. The whole Olympic thing, I'm kind of embarrassed because I'm freakishly into the Olympics.
Yeah.
And so when this clown started talking about how much he was into the Games, I was like, really? Really?
As it turns out, not only were they both crazy about the Olympics, but they actually grew up not far from each other in Minnesota.
Yeah, don't you know?
Oh yeah, you betcha. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Now, 5 years later, the boys have their own website, OlympicsOrBust.com, which chronicles their love of the Games and raises money for charity. With enthusiasm and a wealth of historical knowledge, the pair document the Olympics with photos and video and provide a perspective you won't see on any news network.
I consider myself, honestly, an amateur, Olympic historian.
And it's true. Spend just a few minutes with them and you'll see that they are like Olympic encyclopedias.
Anna Chusovitina was a Soviet gymnast winning gold in 1992.
I structure my life around it. Literally, whatever I'm doing at the time, I don't care what my job is, I don't care what my family situation is, I don't care if I'm going through a major house construction, that happened last year, but I'll drop everything just to go to the Games. When we're going through tough times in our own life, we literally call each other and we're like, go back and watch the Barcelona opening ceremony and you'll cheer off. We do.
During my lunch break, I literally will eat at my desk and just eat and watch Olympic clips that are some of my favorite and go over Olympic montages, the best Soviet Olympians ever. It's an addiction. I have to cut myself off because I will be 2 hours later, I'll be all right, there's work that needs to be done.
I do it almost every day too.
My roommates catch me. My roommates will be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, nothing. I have a couple of keystrokes on my Mac so I can be like, nothing.
Admittedly, it's a bit of an obsession, but an obsession that they say has been a major source of inspiration and education in their lives.
For me, since I was a little kid, the Olympics are how I learned geography. The Olympics are how I was able to see much of the world as a young adult.
While studying abroad in Australia in 2000, Charlie attended the Sydney Olympics and was hooked. He then went to Salt Lake City, Athens, and along with Tyler, Beijing. Vancouver is his 5th Olympic Games. Sports have always been a part of Charlie's life.
I grew up in an extremely sports-loving family. My dad's a former Major League Baseball player. My uncle used to be the star quarterback at Notre Dame. I have 3 golf pro aunts and uncles.
Surrounded by a number of successful athletes in his family, Charlie played just about every sport under the sun, basketball, baseball, and tennis to name a few. But even though his training didn't take him as far as the Olympic team, his fascination with sports and the Olympics has only grown stronger. Tyler also grew up surrounded by an athletic family, and they didn't seem to mind when he showed his own flamboyant interest in sports. At his 10th birthday party, Tyler performed various ice skating moves while his friends watched.
Look at that head work! Woohoo! Headbanger! Whoa! Oh, my triple sour Cohen!
After a few triple axels on the carpet, come on, we've all done them, the icing on the cake was a set of Olympic bed sheets.
I was asking for them at the store because I all the Olympic sheets.
By age 11, Tyler had traded his MC Hammer pants for a Speedo and started swimming competitively.
Every kid just enjoys their sport, but as you keep improving and you win state championships, and then you go to the zone championships, and then you go to the junior national championships, along the way you're kind of like, well, wait a second, like, where am I going with this? Because it's, you know, with sports on that level, if you're dedicating 5 hours a day to training outside of school, you have to start wondering, well, what am I doing this for? And Sydney was always kind of like a dream to just make it to the Olympic trials.
Tyler's strength and speed in the pool led to more than 25 state championship wins. It seemed like qualifying for the U.S. Olympic team wasn't an unreasonable goal, until a freak accident nearly killed him.
I fell off a 30-foot building and broke my back, my legs, and my arm.
Miraculously, Tyler survived, but his injuries were severe and the recovery would seem endless.
So my wrist, my whole right arm was casted, and my wrist had to be put back together. My body was casted from here down to my pelvis, and then my right leg was casted as well. I was in a body brace until about graduation from high school. So not only was I not swimming, I wasn't walking, and some doctors didn't know, like, if I would ever walk normally again or what would happen, because my spine was literally demolished.
Eventually, Tyler moved past his injuries and his own dreams of competing in the Olympics, but his love of sports wasn't diminished.
The Olympics aren't just about winning gold, it's about finishing, it's about putting yourself out there and getting back up again, because how many times in life do you fail or fall down and you have to pick yourself back up again? And so I find it, as a metaphor for my own life, and if something really disappointing or difficult happens, just handle it with grace and dignity, pick yourself back up again, and everything will be fine.